To lose your mind, you have to have a mind to begin with. And I'm not really sure Claire McCaskill has a mind. She is out of her mind. Let's just put it that way. Here she is yesterday on MSNBC saying that Trump is even more dangerous than Hitler. You've got to hear this. Listen up.
Draw similarities between Mussolini and Hitler and the use.
She's going down the Mussolini-Hitler road right away.
Of the terminology like vermin and the drive that those men had towards autocracy and dictatorship. The difference.
I think we can all agree that Mussolini and Hitler were bad. Okay, we can stipulate that.
Though I think makes Donald Trump even more dangerous, and that
even more dangerous than Hitler.
That is, he has no philosophy he believes in. He is not trying to expand the boundaries of the United States of America. He's not trying to overcome a neighboring country like Putin is in Ukraine.
Russia!
He is not going for some grandiose scheme of international dominance. All he wants is to look in the mirror and see a guy who's president.
All right. So why is she saying this? Why is she saying this? Because the other day, there are a number of polls that came out that show that Trump is gaining and actually winning against Biden. Let's go to the videotape, or so the report, so to speak. Newsbuster podcast, media panics and erupts at polls showing that Biden is losing. All the panic and tumult and from the flop sweat is becoming public. More and more polls are making it plausible that Donald Trump could actually beat Joe Biden in 2024 and serve a second term. NBC's new poll of more than 1,000 voters is just the latest. It showed Trump narrowly ahead, 46-44, which has Claire McCaskill hitting the Trump is worse than and more dangerous than Hitler button. She's you would like to say she lost her mind, but I don't know if she had one to begin with. Joe on Morning Joe Scarborough also has lost his mind. Let's cut. This was yesterday as well on MSNBC.
Yes. Joe.
So this from a guy who compared, thank you, Newsbusters, who compared Biden to a brain surgeon on foreign policy. This show could be called Wild Pitch. Scarborough claims that Trump would execute his political enemies, which is effectively the same type of attack that Claire McCaskill had.
Biden being the candidate that supports American democracy, and Donald Trump, a candidate who supports a new form of government here.
So, I mean, just to be clear, the left is projecting here. They're the ones that want to destroy your freedom. They're the ones that want to destroy your freedom on every front. We're going to talk more about this in the show today, about crypto and what Elizabeth Warren wants to do with crypto and why that destroys your freedom. Understand they're projecting here. They're the ones that want to take that from you.
It's authoritarian. It's really that simple. You can't compare him to this past Nazi leader or that past fascist leader because he hasn't done that. Well, what hasn't he done? He hasn't done the things that the American judicial system did not allow him to do last time.
So, Joe, the system worked last time? Because we've had a lot of people that would have taken advantage if it wasn't for our American system, which is a great system. It's not the best. Could it, let me rephrase. Could it be better? Yes. Is it the best? Yes.
But may very well allow him to do this time, or a judicial system that will be ignored by Donald Trump and ran over by Donald Trump.
He's talking to Sharpton about running over a judicial system. The irony.
To create the greatest constitutional crisis of our lifetimes. Just because he hasn't done it yet doesn't mean he won't do it.
That reminds me of the old Bob Dylan song. What have you done wrong? You're thinking it again, right? You're doing it again. You better duck back down the alleyway.
When he gets a chance to do it. And if he is voted into office.
And that's what's really worried. They're worried that he's going to get another chance.
Then a lot of these people that are talking about literal or figurative or whatever the hell they're saying, you're going to look like idiots because he will do he will get away with, he will imprison, he will execute whoever he's allowed to imprison, execute.
Who's being imprisoned right now as enemies of the state? People that went to the Capitol and got fist bumps from the Capitol Police as they entered the building. Hey, high five. Hey, you want to see the U.S. Capitol? Come on. Those are the people that have been imprisoned. Those are the people that have been. Owen has been in prison. All of those people have been in prison. Douglas Mackey is going to jail for making a comical meme. Douglas Mackey is going to jail for making a meme. A meme that was a joke that you can't find. They could not present any victims at his trial that actually thought they voted for Hillary Clinton because of his meme. Why? Because it was a joke. They're sending him to jail. Who are the authoritarians here? Who are the authoritarians? It's them. It's them. Now they're saying, Joe Scarborough is basically saying, not basically, let me take a caveat out. He is saying that Trump will execute people, that Trump will imprison people, that this is going to be like some type of Idi Amin, like everyone's going to be at the soccer stadium type of nightmare. These people are out of their minds. There's people are out of their minds. Clay Travis has a good take on this right now. Trump is more dangerous than Hitler, according to MSNBC guest Claire McCaskill. This is the kind of talking point that was always deranged, Trump derangement syndrome. But I think all of this now is a massive help to Trump in 2024. I think that's right, Clay. I mean, the more you have these people that like just go to the absolute nut job extreme, the more this helps Trump, whether it's the crazy prosecutors that are out there or crazy commentators on MSNBC. No one with a functional brain believes this. These people are batshit insane. Yes, absolutely, Clay Travis. One of my favorite Massachusetts, shout out for Massachusetts conservatives, Tim DeFelice, conservative masshole, stands with Israel. This is a pretty good irony, masshole. Hitler killed 6 million Jews. Trump literally has a town in Israel named after him. Claire, right? Excellent point, masshole, conservative masshole, of which there are not. I'd like to consider myself a conservative masshole, but there's not many of us. Not many of us. Why are they so worried about Trump? Why are they so worried? Because they don't want to lose power. I mean, Claire McCaskill also self-projects that because they don't have a policy. Well, I think they do have a policy, but more than anything, the swamp doesn't want to lose power, right? More than anything, the keep the gravy train rolling is their platform. Plus, they can also see Trump reversing one of what they consider their greatest victories, which is the invasion from our southern border. Here is Stephen Miller speculating what Trump might do. Should he get reelected, what he might do relative to the border. Here he is here. Let's bring this clip up here. Let's start back.
The only other detail I'll add to this, and I could obviously talk about it for an hour, but is that President Trump has also said that he would invoke a statute that's been on the books since.
Let me just clarify that he's going to invoke a statute or consider invoking a statute since
the John Adams administration, which allows you to deport any alien aged 14 or older without due process if there's a declared state of incursion, a predatory incursion or invasion from that country.
Well, we can clearly, if Trump gets elected, I mean, he'll make that declaration because we have a declared incursion. That's clear.
So this is an extremely powerful tool that waives due process. And so that would be an additional authority that you'd be able to use to expedite these removals.
Oh, why didn't he do that before? Well, because he closed the border, right? The border was basically closed while he was president. He was building the wall. And now, as soon as Biden got in, they stopped building the wall and they completely and absolutely opened the border. I've told you before, I went to the border. I went down to Eagle Pass, right where Bill Maloogian does those stand-up videos, right down to the boat ramp. It took me like a half an hour or so, or maybe less, actually. It was a Sunday morning. Church bells were ringing in Mexico. You could hear them. And I don't know, maybe waited 20 minutes for the first illegal crossing of the morning that Sunday when I was down there. I just strolled down there. It's easy to right down Main Street, Eagle Pass, and illegal border crosses right away. The day had started. Understand what these far left people are all about. It's about the death of capitalism. They hate capitalism and they hate freedom. They use all sorts of public events. I'm broadcasting to you from beautiful Plymouth, Massachusetts. And Thanksgiving's tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving. And understand that whether it's Thanksgiving or Claire McCaskill, all of them have a deep, deep hatred for America and for what America stands for and what America provides, which is freedom and opportunity. Here's this article from The Nation that calls upon the decolonization of Thanksgiving. Instead, replace it with truthsgiving. And as you go down here, Sean Sherman, who writes this article in The Nation, he actually puts two and two together. With finally, a lot of times you don't get these far leftists to actually declare what is actually true about what they fail. But here, he does. This Thanksgiving, let's break the bonds of colonization. And, we could have a debate of whether colonization is a good or bad thing, but it happened 400 years ago. So what are we going to do about it now? And this is when he reveals his true platform, capitalism. Understand that capitalism is the greatest system ever. Is the greatest system ever. I saw a meme the other day. It says, Jesus wasn't a socialist. He actually fed people. Right? Like capitalism feeds people. Socialism doesn't. Eventually, as Margaret Thatcher said, you run out of people's money. Socialism starves people. Socialism starves people. Socialism starves people. The other day, or overnight, I guess we should say, there was this big, huge story about the crypto finance situation, and CEO of the world's largest cryptocurrency. Let me snap this there. Get this over here for you. There we go. CEO of the largest cryptocurrency exchange pleads guilty to money laundering violations. CZ is his name, apparently, or his nickname. Understand that every time there's some type of cryptocurrency scandal, and, there have been some scandals. Can we admit there have been absolutely positively scandals? But every time there's some type of cryptocurrency scandal, that is going to be used by the anti-cryptocurrency people, in other words, the anti-freedom people, to crack down on cryptocurrency and what it stands for in the big picture. And we should definitely not have fraud in the cryptocurrency system. So I'm glad they're pursuing this, as well as they did with Sam Bankman-Fried. But in the big picture, notwithstanding the occasional or absolute fraud that we've seen from time to time in cryptocurrency and those issues, they're definitely bad, got to get cleaned up. But understand, leaders are going to be using that as a way to take away the ultimate freedom from fiat currency that Bitcoin and crypto represent. That is one of the biggest threats of our day, is that the government will actually usurp the technology and provide their own cryptocurrency, which they control, which is effectively the complete antithesis of Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin is trying to be a currency that nobody controls, right? This is kind of like a straight out of a Bond movie theme, effectively. So when we see this type of thing, you just got to wait till you cue people like Elizabeth Warren, because they're going to use every one of these scandals to move forward their agenda, which is to control cryptocurrency, and by basically controlling, basically going to crush it so that the government is the only one that has it. Peter St. Onge, my favorite economist on Twitter, every time voters are asked about central bank digital currency, by 85 to 90%, they oppose it. Yet, people like Elizabeth Warren keep pushing. Here is her video from a year ago where she tells you what's really her agenda relative to cryptocurrency.
What banks do wrong. If you think we could improve that in a digital world, the answer is sure you could. But in that case, let's do a central bank digital currency.
Are you there?
Oh, for a central bank digital currency? Yeah. Yes. I think it's time for us to move
essentially, because the thing is, when you look at every piece of paper currency we issue, not with coins, but every paper currency has its own identity.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, we're prepared for the blockchain now with currency. Should that be how we build this?
So I think of it as, again, what's the problem you're trying to solve? Mm-hmm. And if the problem you're trying to
Bitcoin is trying to solve her. She is the problem that Bitcoin is trying to solve.
Is fast, almost frictionless ability to send money across the country, do it rapidly, send it around the world, be able to send it to your cousins in Argentina.
That problem's already been solved by Bitcoin. Speed of transfer is really not the problem that's being solved anymore. That's been solved by the private sector.
If that's what you're trying to solve, a central bank digital currency does that. And
we already have done that.
You don't really need a stable coin for that. You've already got a dollar denominated. You don't really need a Bitcoin to be able to do that. So then the question becomes, so what is it that what problem is it solving for? And now we can...
The problem it's solving for is Elizabeth Warren. Like, scroll back up to Sam Lyman's tweet here. No, this interview is about a year old, by the way, to be fair. But it's relative to her recent legislation called the Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act, which is basically would cripple Bitcoin in the United States. It's little more than an attempt to crack down on illicit finance. In reality, it's a nuclear warhead pointed at the crypto industry. Make no mistake, Warren's AML bill is the crypto killer. First, you've got to kill crypto so that she can come in with a central bank digital currency. Once again, my favorite economist is going to explain why that's a bad idea.
Banks. But the thing that I really want to talk about today is central bank digital currencies. So the bank crisis is setting the stage for them to sneak in a centralized CBDC, which is a government-run.
So he's talking about in March, where we had the mini banking crisis, and how the federal government was using that to try to sneak in a central bank digital currency. They'll use any crisis. The current crisis is now the scandal at the current crypto exchange. It's a mini banking. It's any scandal to advance this agenda
on cryptocurrency, and this could give them total control over your life, like China's totalitarian social credit system. A CBDC, sometimes they give it a cheerful name of digital dollar, is a type of cryptocurrency. It imitates Bitcoin, but this is a freak house version of Bitcoin, which is run by the government. And it means that bureaucrats will be able to see everything you spend. They will be able to control everything you spend. They can fine you at will. They can stop you from buying a gun. They could force you to eat the bugs.
It's like Minority Report, but for every activity of your life, not just crime that you might commit, but buying a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, the government's going to know about it.
A CBDC can even make your money erode or even vanish. You have no control. They can centrally program this thing. They can zero in, look at you, and decide what they're going to do about your life savings. They can block you from...
Oh, Jack, that would never happen. Oh, well, just ask the Canadian truckers.
From exiting a bank that's going under. They can see and control everything you do, who you're transacting with, why you're doing it. In short, a CBDC is a totalitarian's wet dream. It is total social control. It gives us a Chinese-style system where you would be afraid to criticize the government. You would be afraid to go along with whatever the bureaucrats have decided you're going to do next. Now, for the past year in Washington, they've been pushing these CBDCs nonstop. I have been fighting them. We at Heritage have been fighting them. What's amazing is they push this crap when no voters want this. Left-wing voters.
So who does that remind you of? Something that the government controls everything. When the government controls every aspect of the money, not only can they devalue it, but they can take yours if you say the wrong thing, like up in Canada with the trucker. If you have diabetes, you can't go to Krispy Kreme. What? Not yeah. Think of it. It's like China, but even like worse, because who's in charge? Elizabeth Warren is in charge. It's 1984 through the money. It's absolutely positively disgusting. Another reason that people like Elizabeth Warren want a central bank digital currency and to get rid of Bitcoin and its cousins is because not only for the control on the big picture, which they would love, but they would also like to be able to continue to spend and devalue your money quicker than they are already doing, if that's even possible. Here's a chart from EJ Antoni about our national debt. Elizabeth Warren loves inflation, and a central bank digital currency would allow her to deflate or to devalue the American dollar even faster than they're already doing. This is a chart of interest on the federal debt, now so immense that it's consuming 40% of all personal income tax. If federal finances continue on their current path, we are only a few years from the entirety of income tax revenue needed to finance the debt. Thank you, Ian and Tony. I mean, the chart goes straight up. Elizabeth Warren loves that because she can tax us through inflation, and she'll be able to do that even more so with central bank digital currency. She is relentless in her pursuit, as well as many, many others. Fortunately, there have been some Republicans that have stood up and said, no, we're not going to do that. And here is a statement from July from the Chamber of Digital Commerce, talking about Elizabeth Warren's bill, the Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act. This proposal aims to eradicate digital asset innovation in the United States. For those reasons, we strongly encourage all consumers interested in preserving and improving the health and viability of digital asset ecosystem to call their senators to oppose the bill. The legislation would classify certain industry participants, including individual miners, validators, and financial institutions, subject to the Bank Secrecy Act compliance regime, treating these entities commensurate with the largest banks, hedge funds, and money transmitters. It would weigh them down with unnecessary compliance, stifle innovation, hinder industry growth, and force activity offshore to jurisdictions with less adequate security and oversight. Effectively, it would kill Bitcoin and crypto innovation in the United States, which is exactly what Elizabeth Warren wants to do, so that she can ride in on a white horse and rescue the whole situation by having the government issue a central bank digital currency. Why do you need Bitcoin if a government can do it for you? That's her approach. Let's look at some other news that we've had today. We can X out of that for now. I'll bring this up here. Where'd we go? Hold on a second. Here we go here. We've had some fairly bad economic news come out this morning. Durable goods orders are down. They tanked. Again, EJ Antoni on this. In October, with September revised also down 14.1% nominal gains since January 2021 have all been inflation, with real orders down 2.6% and overall flat for almost 3 years. Transportation orders are collapsing because of freight volumes are also on decline. Harbinger of recession. This came out this morning. Durable good orders also plunge in October as war spending sinks. That's probably actually good. Where would our durable good orders be if we didn't have the war, right? If we didn't have the war. unadjusted jobless claims surged to a 4-month high led by California. So one of the problems that we're having with a lot of the economic data, whether this is housing or wherever it happens to be, is last year, because of the Fed rate hikes, it kind of whacked out all of the seasonal adjusted numbers and all of the year-over-year numbers. That normal pattern, this also started, I should probably say, when the pandemic. So the pandemic, or the government's response to the pandemic, coupled with the spike in interest rates, has whacked out all of the seasonal adjusted numbers and also the year-over-year numbers. So when you're looking at some of these government statistics, you got to look at the raw number, which is what Zero Hedge here did. Unadjusted jobless claims surged to a 4-month high led by California. And when you look at these initial jobless claims, the numbers are going up. There's really no other way to look at that number. We were down fairly low, and now we're headed up. More bad economic news there. Lovely how it comes out on a Wednesday afternoon before Thanksgiving. Forbes is getting ribbed a little bit because they've had these covers featuring CZ, the guy that just got in trouble for the cryptocurrency, Crypto Secret Billionaire Club, Sam Bankman-Fried, and of course Elizabeth Holmes. The she's in jail. Let's just put it that way, right? You know who she is. And why would they have all these Forbes covers in a row? Because Forbes is now running a story that says 3 ways to decenter whiteness in your workplace. Now, as DC Drano points out, if you had replaced whiteness and put in black or Jew, the mainstream media would go bonkers on you. And this has been a long-standing problem with pretty much anything that you can't do that. White people, you can discriminate against white people. You can discriminate against Catholics. All of that is fine. What you can't do, the understand that all of that is a sorry, I put this up on the screen for you. All of that is a leverage of power. That you can't say anything bad about certain groups, but you can totally say it about white people. That's fine. You can say it about Catholics. That's fine, right, FBI? You can discriminate against Catholics. You can persecute Catholics. That's fine, too. And a lot of other groups, Irish American, yeah, you can do all that. But if you interchange those with other ethnic groups, oh, my God, you lost your whole business. All right, trying to run a business here. I got to get back to this. We're going to be back with you again. I've really appreciated joining you today, this Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I want to thank you so much for watching the show. Let's remember that today is the anniversary of President Kennedy's death in Dallas in 1963. We bless him and his family. Remember his sacrifice as not only a hero in peace, but a hero in war. Thanks for watching. I'm John F. Gately, broadcasting to you from beautiful Plymouth. Have a great day. Bye-bye.